With the idea of the same table given in page number 2.55, you just refer to the figure 15 in page number 2.57. On the y-axis, you have the price and the marginal utility, and on x-axis, you have the amount of commodity. Now, what various units, the marginal utility gained by him is more, the price being the same. For OP, that is for 20 rupees, he is able to get marginal utility of 30 for the first unit, second 28, third 26, fourth 24, fifth 22, whereas the sixth is the 20th. For 20 rupee price, he gets the same 20th marginal utility. Now here in this diagram, for the price OP, he buys OQ quantity, so he is satisfied with the demand, the equilibrium is obtained by him. That is, the marginal utility is the same as that of the price over there. Until then, his utility was up to y-axis, like say the curve declines downwards, DD1. So the small, the triangle there up above the rectangle, which I can say as triangle PDR, that gives the measurement of the consumer surplus for the consumer in consuming the goods of price OP, consuming OQ number of goods. I think now you would have understood. OQ goods at the price OP has given him a satisfaction from the satisfaction has been shown in the curve DD1 there on the demand curve itself. The extra satisfaction that he is getting by buying the same goods at the same price OP is being shown on the vertical lines over there. So that is the consumer surplus that he enjoys it. The consumer welfare derived from the good is the benefit that he gets from the commodity than the price paid for the good. So consumer surplus is the buyer's net gain from purchasing a unit. Graphically, as I told you, the triangular area below the demand curve and above the price line is called as the consumer surplus. The size of the consumer surplus depends on the price of the good. Now, in the next diagram, you please see to figure number 16 down. The price, if it moves from OP to OP1, that is when the price decreases, the quantity that the consumers are ready to buy increases, OQ to OQ1. Now what happens? The existing consumers, when the price was OP, they were buying OQ number of goods. So the consumer surplus that they were getting was APE. That is the triangle shaded with small alphabet A. That is the consumer surplus that they were having. Now, when the price declines to P1, they are able to go further to Q1. So, what happens? The extra that they get is being shown under the rectangle P. That is the satisfaction that they are able to get extra by paying little less than the price that they expected. Now, what is the smaller triangle small c mentions? The small c refers to the new consumers who have joined the market because of the decrease of the price. Like the quantity has shifted from Q to Q1, it might be the same consumers plus the new consumers. So the consumer surplus of the new consumers, new buyers who started buying the commodity due to the lower price is shown in the triangle C. Understood? So now we shall move on to the applications. This concept of consumer surplus has some important applications, practical applications. What are the applications? First one is consumer surplus is a measure of the gain in consuming the goods. How much the consumer is enjoying because of buying it. If they are really happy, if they have a very good surplus of happiness, they will buy more of the product. Second one is, it helps the business managers to make decisions to fix the selling prices. If they are able to identify the consumers who are ready to buy and their elasticity, they can really increase the higher prices because they know that the consumers are ready to buy for more products. Third one is when they are to invest in large scales, the cost and the benefit analysis can be taken into account with the help of consumer surplus. Fourth one is it is a very important factor for the business firm to increase the product prices. That is when the only a small amount of surplus, if it is given, the buyers will not go for higher prices. So the firm has to decide like when to increase and how much little they can increase. The fifth one is consumer surplus usually helps the government to decide upon the tax that they can levy on certain products, either to decrease it or to increase it for finding out the consumer surplus. Because if the consumer's happiness is reduced, then that will reduce the income, or that will not be a welfare measure for the citizens. Does this theory has only positivity? No, there are certain limitations. What is the first limitation? I would say it cannot be measured accurately. Consumer surplus is only a measurement value we attach to it. It cannot be measured in terms of money or by any quantity like. Second one is, in case of necessaries, the marginal utility will always be infinitive. If it is, he has to use it, whether it is an additional unit n or n plus 1 or n plus 2, the surplus is always infinite. Next is, if supposing there are perfect substitutes available, the consumer surplus of this product, the one he was originally using, cannot be measured correctly. Next, as we already discussed, certain prestigious value products cannot have this law of diminishing utility. There the consumer surplus will be still the more when the prices are more, because it's a status symbol. And as I told you, it cannot be measured in terms of money, because when money purchasing power increases, always the surplus will also be will not be able to be measured. So the assumption is unrealistic. The concept can be accepted only if it is assumed that utility can be measured in terms of money. But modern economists, they don't agree with the utility being measured in terms of money. So this is what all about the consumer surplus.